Hey, so in yet another attempt to clarify something that I would find very confusing if I were new to the manifesting community and all the language that is bandied about here, much of which isn't really, I don't think, intuitive unless you've already experienced it. Here's another attempt to differentiate between two things that are nuanced that could be very confusing. So often people talk about living in the state of the wish fulfilled, basically that what you want is yours now. There's a whole bunch of language, and then there's people that like me, and then I make a post and I'm like, well, the feeling of the wish fulfilled for me is basically knowing it's going to happen, knowing it's done. And obviously when I say knowing it's going to happen, I'm talking about like an event or something I want happening in reality. And for me, that is not incorrect. I'm not exactly sure how to put it. For me, in those scenarios where like you are manifesting, like getting into the right career or getting into the right relationship or something like that, the way you would want to live your life every day is with a sense of confidence that you don't have to worry about that it's already happening. Like you could say it's happening right now, because when you do the process that makes it come about, right now somewhere something is happening immediately that is leading to that. Like the steps are being set up for you to get there over this bridge of incidents or period of time or whatever. So for me, it's more it's just more reality. I know I don't have it right now, but I know that I will at the end of the bridge of incidents. Just true. And so for me, living in the state of the wish fulfilled for something like that is that type of feeling. Like, it will happen. You're sure it will happen. Whereas if you're trying to make a big change in yourself, in something that you believe about yourself, that's different. You wouldn't exist in a state of I will become that or I will be that. That is where you realize that you already are that thing. Whether or not it's outwardly expressed yet, you have to kind of like appropriate that and realize that you are that already. And so like, say like, what's kind of a combination of the two? Say that like you want to be a successful, popular comedian. And so you have to both, it's kind of like a combo of both of those things. You would know that you are that already, that essentially you want to be that outwardly in 3D because you already are that. It's that thing trying to express itself naturally through you. You are that thing already. But your success, like your 3D world success, is sort of like the event, so it's kind of like you have to know that you are the thing while at the same time living with this sense of confidence that how you want that to play out in 3D is a sure thing and will happen. And that's like an example. That's a hybrid. So what about just like something that you want to believe about yourself straight up? Just a way you want to feel different about yourself. Like, you don't feel good enough, but you want to feel good enough. That's the kind of thing where you have to persist in having it right now. The feeling is that you are that right now already. Little nuance here between these things. And so I've been thinking about this a lot lately. A lot of times when people talk about this, they don't specify any difference between those two things. It's really all the kind of the same thing, but how you approach this in your day-to-day life, it's like on a case-by-case basis, and what you're trying to do and what category it falls into and all that stuff. That's my experience and my opinion. I know that there are a lot of people that say that they are living in the, like the people like the SP people, or I don't know what another good example would be, but like people are living as though they are somebody's significant other right now, like in their mind. Like to be honest with you, I'm not really sure how you do that and don't feel like you're kind of crazy. In my opinion, none of this should ever feel crazy. It should feel like completely natural. It's like being a normal human with a superpower. It's not like being, it's not like pretending or living in some la la land delusional thing. And I'm only saying this from the standpoint of already having done a bunch of stuff this way. I can't speak to what somebody else who actually lives as though a thing that is clearly going to happen in the future it has already happened or is happening right now. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't, the reality is that it has not happened yet, and the reality is that it will. And so right now, in my mind, that should be your feeling. 100% this thing is going to happen. It's already been set up. It's done. It's done already, and now I'm just on the bridge to it. To me, that feels very different than saying, I want to be in the right relationship, so I act like I'm already in it. To me, that just does not make any sense. And I'm guessing for a lot of other people, it doesn't make sense because there's a lot of confusion about this. People are like, what the hell is it? How do you live in the end of manifesting a free cup of coffee? Leave me a comment, because this is one of the things that I feel like is just like a really basic, obvious illustration of what I just said. How do you live in the end of manifesting a free cup of coffee? You don't. You manifest it in your mind, and then you know it will come about, and then you get it. If you do. But yeah, it's the living, like the being the thing now, to me, is more about things that are about you, that are changing you. Not just like getting an event to come about or getting a thing to show up. That's when you have to be that thing now in order to get, the outer thing. So like another thing, like I use this comedian example, but it's like with me and the weight thing, which I've been talking about way more than I would like to lately. I had to be that person in my mind. And I lived with the knowing that the end result that I wanted, which was to have like a lean body, would eventually be there. I didn't act as though I had it right now, in this moment. Another thing I was thinking of about sort of what it means to think from the end and act from the end. I think I need to make a whole video about this, but I'll just say this here. So what I like to say is, what would Bill Gates, if Bill Gates suddenly, like, his brain suddenly downloaded into your head and he found himself like in your shitty apartment, not you obviously, but like your shitty apartment with your shitty job, do you think he would behave the way Bill Gates in his normal brain would behave? Like, do you think he'd just start spending money he didn't have? Or no, but he would do with your life, he would make the decisions with your circumstances using his mentality. And that's how you do this, in my opinion. You deal with your current circumstances from the mentality of the person that has the thing you want. So it was like that for me with the weight. Like it's like, what would 115-pound me do with this impulse to go eat a pizza right now? Would 115-pound me, who has suddenly leapt into my 190-pound body, would the 110-pound brain that is now sitting in this body, what would they do to get to 110? So that was how I operated. And so that was kind of like being it right now, knowing that the end result was guaranteed. I hope that made like any sense at all. It's raining too hard for me to go into Panera right now, so I figured I would just get this out on a video. I hope that helps somebody. Have a great day.